Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Ladies of the Roundtable, Lord Nation. We are live. We are here. You are here, and so is Miss Holly.
Hi, everyone.
And back at the table, resolve for another
Hey,
round.
another one.
Another one. And of course, our guest. Yes, it's another gentleman at the table. Yes, we love our Knights of the Round Table guys, so we keep bringing them back because there's some important people that we want to share with
boss over
you.
there
And
wants me to
it
thank
would
you for
be Mr.
supporting the
Jerome
organization. So,
Hardaway. Welcome to the
thanks.
table.
Hey, thank you for inviting me. Excited to be here this evening.
Awesome. Guys, if you don't know who we're talking to, don't worry. We're going to tell you. And if you do know, shout them out in the chat. Give them some props. Show your man some love. We have a special overlay tonight for a special reason. If you did not know, well, we have military family in the house. We have a lot of love for our men and women in the service across the board at the round table. I can speak for myself. Lots of military in the family. And Holly, of course, you can speak for you.
I'm a Navy wife. My
Yes.
husband's active duty.
And Miss Resolve.
Of course.
A lot of love for the
The
military.
boss
And
over
thank you
there
guys for those hosts
wants
coming
me to
in.
thank you for
And
supporting the
why do we have a special overlay?
So, thanks.
So we have this special overlay because there is a tradition in the military that we call Red Fridays. Red, R-E-D, standing for Remember Everyone Deployed. So if you know somebody who's in the military, or you feel like giving that extra support, wear red on Fridays. And when people say, you know what, why do you wear red on Fridays? Don't be like, you know what, it's not a mean girls thing. It's because I want everybody to remember those who are forward deployed and can't be home and are fighting for our freedom. So that's what we're doing. And we are actually supporting, where is it?
Right up at the top.
Yeah.
The
Right up at the
boss
top.
over there
Oh, I got host. I'm
wants
sorry.
me to
I got
thank
it.
you
I'll
for
put it in the chat.
supporting the
That's good.
organization.
So hashtag is
thanks.
red to get in on the conversation for questions.
Woo.
And redshirtfridays.org is actually the charity that we are supporting with our Red Friday gear.
And speaking of military charities, Jerome is here because we have an awesome charity we want to introduce you guys to that also deals with veterans, and that is Vets Who Code. You may or may not be familiar. We're going to throw up the links in the chat, guys. We're going to put all the social medias and all the places you can go show some love and some support for this charity that is Lord approved. We recommend that you go out and give them a follow and check out what they're doing and show your support by sharing. It's one of the best ways you can support a charity or a nonprofit is to share and tell your friends and spread the message of something that is great. People doing great things with no ask in return. We're giving amongst ourselves. So, Jerome, tell us a little bit about the charity and why you decided to start this charity and how people can help.
Roger that. First and foremost, I am a United States veteran. What I've been, I was in the United States Air Force from 2004 to 2009. I was security forces, and I actually trained in the Phoenix Raven program. So one of the biggest shocks that people come when they find out, come to find when they talk to me, said, no, I was never an officer, and no, I did not come from a software engineering background. So they're like, oh, how are you like this software engineer that works in Ruby on Rails and all these other crazy technologies, and that's like not what you're trained in the military. I tell them hard work and dedication. This is something that any veteran can do. The story of how Vetsuko was created actually begins like with me exiting the military. I exited, landed smack dab in the middle of the recession, and I realized that the civilian community, they viewed my skills as either only useful in a first responder setting, or I didn't have any training or skills at all, and I should be regulated to working at like a minimum wage position. That's where when I get out and I found out that. And so I decided like I didn't want to, in order to make a decent living or a comparable living wage during the recession, I didn't want to end up I didn't want to become a first responder right off the bat, and I did not want to like be regulated to like a minimum wage position while trying to go through college. So I learned how to do software programming. I learned how to code first, so HTML, CSS, moved on to JavaScript, jQuery, and before I moved on into like full server side with JavaScript, Python, Ruby on Rails. I think I shared with you guys earlier. Later on this year, I'm going to start working with Java, Swift, and C, just to try to push myself. But everything came to a head about 2 years ago, 2014, when a young veteran, his family needed help, and our local community wasn't able to help him. So I used my software engineering skills and ran a really quick, really fast, really big campaign. And we were able to raise about 10 grand for his family to get help. And we did that in about 27 hours. And I was just in this position where I was looking, I was working in the nonprofit sector, and I was seeing, especially for veteran charities, they're all very reactive based, and they weren't based like how veterans or active duty military members work in our career fields. They're very proactive. We try to assess threats early on and neutralize those, and so that way we can ensure the safety of our fellow countrymen and our fellow veterans that are active duty service members that are serving with us. So I focused on like, why are there no nonprofits that are proactive based? And so that's why I decided to focus on Vets Who Code to create a type of training program or type of training space where veterans within a year of getting out to up to 2 to 3 years of getting of being already exit the military can learn software engineering and get really great tools and mentorship and just amenities, things that you wouldn't get even at some of the most, we have some of the most expensive code schools just over the course of 19 weeks and be able to transfer into junior software engineers. And some of these guys are able to get into the mid-engineer job salary point. So that's what I did. We ended up first year doing a lot of front-end web development training to the point where about 75 veterans ended up getting jobs, and that caught the ear of the White House. The White House invited us to White House Demo Day, and then we decided we were going to change the program and take it up a notch and go full stack. But we call it, it's not truly full stack, we call it the VWC stack, the Vets Who Code stack, in which we do Ruby on Rails, but we also do Postgres and Angular. And then we also teach these guys how to use AWS or Amazon Web Services. So it's really complex. Learning how to use EC2 and Elasticsearch when it comes to how to deploy sites and spin. That gives them a business development edge versus what the other code schools are giving them. So these guys are able to come in and not only build products, but actually be able to do the work that in the end helps companies that are using, like, such as how Netflix uses cloud computing
over there
or
wants me to
cloud
thank you for
hosting now, help
supporting
their
the organization.
companies save money
thanks.
right off the bat. So being able to build a product and able to create images with EC2 and help the companies they work with actually save money makes them a great asset. So that's what we work on right now. We've graduated 5 more. We have 4 more in the pipeline that we're prepping for employees. It's a crazy time. We've added new tools to the program. We started Slack-side chats last month. Z.A. Shaw, I don't know if you guys know him, but he's a really, really big deal in the tech community. He created the Learn Code the Hard Way series, like Learn Ruby the Hard Way, etc. He also wrote Mongrel, which is the first, which is a technology product that Twitter used to use to run its business, essentially very early on. And so he's a rock star, and we come to find out that he was an Army veteran, came in. We're having people from Netflix come in this month, the month after. We're having a creator, Ruby on Rails, DHH, and stuff come in to talk to our veterans. Sandy Metz, she wrote object-oriented design with Ruby. Object-oriented programming with Ruby. That's a really great book. And she's a rock star in her own right. So I'm very excited to get these guys graded and skilled up and with jobs before the Veteran Day holiday comes, so I can sleep. My goal is to try to get them graduated and done before my anniversary comes up, so I can rest and relax during that time.
There you go.
Give the wife her attention. Like, happy wife, happy life, yo.
Amen.
Yeah.
So, your wife has to be really proud of where you've come from, seeing a problem, seeing something that you yourself were facing, and understanding there are other people out there that have similar thought process than you, but going beyond yourself and reaching for a goal of helping others is amazing. And we thank you for that. And you guys in the chat, if you want to ask questions or get in the conversation, use that hashtag red. We'll get your questions in. We are pretty excited about the exponential growth that's going on for you. We're here to support. We think that what you guys are doing is amazing. Obviously, we're here at Lord are all about STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Adding the A for art. Yo, Tiff, we see you in the chat. We think it's very important for the community and other organizations like ourselves as a nonprofit to set a great example for the kids that are coming up, to show them that we as adults can work together and bond, to show them examples for what they should be aspiring towards as adults. And there is a lot of military families that move all over the country and outside the United States, and people come back home and see their families broken, torn apart, and parents struggling just to cope with everyday reality. And I think that programs like yours are taking the skills that you learn as a military member and allowing you to use those and translate them into civilian life, which is not easy at all. Most people who, and speaking from experience from being married to a Marine and having a naval officer in my life, it's very hard to transition from military to civilian, to go into a civilian job. People don't understand how difficult it is and how little support veterans have to do so. So I think the programs that you guys have are great. Hopefully, over time, we will see some other charities reaching out to you to help with the mental health aspect of what's going on with the transition, because I think that's very important to tie the two things together, tech and mental health, so that people are living healthy lives when they're transitioning.
Well, that's one of the things that we don't focus. Like I said, I cut my chops. My first job in civilian field was working with nonprofits, and so like peer support specialists and all these other things. And so we work with the mental health and the EQ into the workflow. It's very important. I always do. I guess in the military we call them HAWKs, health and wellness checks. So I am always doing health and wellness checks or AARs, after action reviews with the veterans to see where they're at mentally, where they're at socially. We force them. Part of homework is going to a meetup, so you have to integrate and socialize with people that are in our community, in the tech community, in your local area. It's just not just sitting behind the screen and I'm just telling them what to code and things of that nature. There's a lot of homework, but there's also a lot of social integration exercises, a lot of EQ-based exercises. We focus on a total person approach, similar to how the military, or at least the Air Force, I can't speak for all services, I can only speak for the one I was in. We called it a total person concept, in which we focused on like your performance was based on you in totality, like not only how well you did your job, but how did you affect the community, how did you affect the squadron, were you a great person? So that's the exact same approach that we take here at Vexy Co. We focus on a total person concept. It's not just your GitHub, it's not just your LinkedIn. It is, are you using Twitter? Are you socializing people? Did you tweet this month? Did you ask questions? Like I work really hard to get these names, who are really big names and really important people, to come. And, it's a very intimate situation. There's very few, like I said, very few for-profit schools that can pull off some of the meetings that we do when it comes to having these developers and these essential rock stars in our tech community. So that's what we focus on, like I said, more a total person concept to try to make sure that we have the highest level of success. I think that's why we're still at 100% success rate with our veterans, because we focus on small numbers intimacy and the entire scope of the person.
That's awesome.
It's so impressive, like, because you think about it, like, because given any program, like, you expect that there is some sort of like attrition or failure rate, and the fact that you've been able to keep it at 100%, like, just speaks volumes. And it's not just you're teaching veterans how to code, it's like you're kind of, I don't want to use like the word rehabilitating, like reassimilating maybe, like back into like civilian life, because it is so much more different.
Our motto is reboot, retool, relaunch. So our thought process is focused on
day to day, like.
She's lagging for all of us, Jay.
Yeah, it's
All
okay.
right. Awesome. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep, we missed that
sorry.
result.
Poor baby. She'll be back. She'll be back. Oh, she's there.
She's
already.
there.
I'm here
Yep,
now.
there you go. We
I
missed.
don't-
We just missed the latter
I'm
part
there.
of.
I'm afraid over her. She's
yeah.
back. I'm kidding. I didn't.
But yeah, like I was saying, part of our motto is retool, reboot, retool, relaunch. So the way we think of it is we're taking a veteran, we're basically doing a kickstart of that veteran. Go ahead and taking that person, let them know that we're not trying to strip you of anything you've done. We're actually trying to create a form of adding more skills to your tool belt. We go through a retooling process. We're teaching them how workflows work, how to use GitHub, how to use your favorite text editor via either, if you're on what we try to do, make it easier for everyone, as we have everyone use a cloud-based code editor called C9. It's really outside of Slack, it's our second best tool that we use. So that way we don't have to do a lot of that having to have everybody download stuff on their computer. So that way we can get a person on something as simple or as a Chromebook, or even if they don't have a computer but they have to go somewhere every day to get on a computer, they have their workstation and their workflow saved because they have their own GitHub account and they have their C9 account. So as long as they have those, it's really easy for them to keep up with their work and be able to use Linux-based operating system, regardless whether they're on Windows or they're on Mac. Everybody's using the same type of flow, the same type of shortcuts and commands. So, like, literally, I did the hard work of thinking every step through it. I went through a code school. I interviewed code boot campers. I was like, what were the problems? And two of the problems we saw was install fest and the software issue. Basically, if everybody was on the same software, the same machine, people are having problems. So we negated the two biggest problems and made sure that everybody could just focus on learning. So that canceled the tooling, and then we relaunched them, and then we, basically we help them get jobs. We train them. We do mock interviews. We do so many mock interviews. We do a lot of interview questions, interview coding questions. We get them to the point of being able to get in there and get the job. To let people know all the time that one of the how we started was before we were able to get to the point where I could code call or code email a company and get a meeting. The way we were getting meetings back in the day was me actually going and applying for jobs and applying for jobs, getting the job, turning the job down, and then pitching that to code. Like, that's literally how we end up getting some of our biggest partners. Gary Vaynerchuk, he did a special and he asked us to send a question. And the only reason he knew of me was because he had a Python engineering position open. And I actually applied for the job, did the test, and did all the coding challenges, got the job, and then turned it down and started pitching his director of development.
Wow.
So, like, that's how we made our mark going into these meetings and kicking everybody's butt. And then, like, you know what? I'm not going to take your job. I have access to a buttload of veterans who are just as talented and diligent and hardworking as me, who can do exactly what you do, what you need them to do. So, and that's how we made our mark in the community. Like I said, we've done it so far 80 times in 14 states. We're looking before I get 40 to hit every state. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do Alaska, but we're gonna see.
That was one of my next questions is, do you call them chapters or what, how do you associate
Oh,
your
we
different
don't
groups?
call only we focus on is qualifying. You're in, we look at, like, say we're a quality, not a quantity
Hmm.
group. Like I said, one of the things we look for aptitude and impact. So we look at veterans who we not only they could pass, but see that they could do the work or that they've been pushing themselves to learn on their own and they showed, the diligence to work. But we also look for people who actually use our help. We had 113 applicants for our current session that's going on, and we made sure that we picked the best of them. And 10% of these people, they were automatically modded out because uh, they had the potential to go to a code school for profit. We don't waste our resources and tools on veterans who can actually afford
Right.
going to a coding boot camp. We always recommend them General Assembly. That's one of my favorites. I think a nice second, depending on where you are, is like V School, and those are usually the two big ones that I bring up. But that's what we do. So like we always look for guys and girls who need it. We're trying to help the diversity, or not really diversity. I would say more tech inclusion because I think the best part about doing veterans is that I don't have to exclude what type of group of people that I work with. I can help every form of the community because I'm working with veterans, and veterans is pretty much the most diverse group of, like, in our population. Like everybody, you're born so many races and genders, but everybody and answers to every race and gender has someone to answer to call for veterans. So I think that's one thing that really makes me happy is that I get to focus on tech inclusion from the point of people who all you need to do to be a part of our program is have served your country. So, and then we focus on those that we can help the most.
Nice.
I love that. So we have a few questions for
The
you.
boss over there wants me to
I
thank you for supporting
love
the
that
organization. So
you're
thanks.
not only focused on transitioning vets into jobs, but that you're primarily focused on tech jobs. And I think that's what really sets you guys apart from other veteran nonprofits, which I think is cool. So I want to know, like, where you kind of shared a little bit about this, but I want to mine a little bit further. Like with your, I don't want to like answer for you, but like with your love of tech, I want to know, like, where did this kind of like stem from? Like, where's your passion and like
The funny thing, I'm not in love with tech. Like everybody thinks that I'm just this hitter. No, I'm passionate about veterans. Literally, what I saw, like I will never forget. It was like 2011. What made me transition to tech it was like 2011, and I was looking, and I was like, software engineering or coding is the smartest move to make. It was low, what I considered uh, low impact. I didn't need to buy a bunch of stuff. I could just get a text editor, be it something as simple as Notepad, something as complex as an IDE like RubyMine, and I could start learning from going through documentation, which if you're in the military, veterans already have a lot of experience of really boring documentation. I think we invented death by PowerPoint.
I was
And
just about
then
to say that.
what happened is somebody retired and decided to bring that into corporate America. That's one of our inventions that we are really sorry
Thank
for.
you.
We
Thank you. Right. Yeah.
yeah, nobody's perfect. You got to, for every great thing we do, you got to get it done. So like that's when, like, I remember being on post and having to remember my SSI, go through my CDCs and learn my job and how dry that paperwork was. So going through like the Rails guides doesn't really bother me because I'm like, I've been forced to digest boring literature my entire career. And I think that's one thing that all veterans share. Like, all of us, the people that write military educational books, they're not it's not Hemingway. It's literally the dry, like it's the driest stuff on earth. So that was a great advantage. That level of discipline for stuff that would normally put people to sleep, and just being able to continue to push yourself. That's what programming truly is at the end of the day. Like you're gonna have like some talented people, but the actual fact programming is learning to be okay with failing every single day, and then every time you fail you end up failing a little bit less every time you try something. So like my favorite thing to share with our veterans is I guess it's from Adventure Time, and it's the dog that says, sucking is the first step to being kind of good at something. And I'm like, try to let people, and I'm always open and honest with the vets, and I'm like, I'm not some natural, I'm not some aficionado. I'm just a dude that puts in the work. As long as I'm 1% better than I was the day before, I'm happy. And the fun thing about thinking about it with 1%, 1% changes. I remember when 1% was, trying to get console on .log to work, to something that's that simple, to not mess that up and do it from memory, to now it's find a solution in a complex app, find the documentation for it, and fix it, and try to fix it within a respectful amount of time. So that's like the total difference. Like 1% went from struggling with JavaScript in the console to fixing active admin, which is for Rails like the crappiest documentation on earth. Like it's such a good product that they don't focus on the documentation because they're like, you're going to use it anyway, so who cares?
I have to say, I envy people who can code in Rails. It's just an amazing. I have a 15-year-old that is reaching for the stars, and I keep trying to push. She's already learned Java and Unity, and she's working on C. But I'm like, can you do Ruby? Can you please do Ruby? Because at 15, if she can get to Ruby by 17, I mean, she's made it, right?
Make that flip to JavaScript.
Flip to Java. All right.
JavaScript, not Java. JavaScript. By the time she's an adult, JavaScript's quickly becoming one of the hottest things out there. An 18-year-old with 4 or 5 years of JavaScript experience.
It'd be amazing.
Easy job, especially with like the stuff you can do. Like if you with Chrome and like Node.js and Electron, and man, like
that's a whole other show, right?
Yeah. If you ever want to see the power of like JavaScript, especially on the front end, please go look up like Chrome experiments.
Okay.
See what the people are creating. They're creating whole solar systems with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have her check that out. I know we got some chat questions, guys. Thank you so much for putting that hashtag red in the chat, because we're gonna get to your questions. Believe me, this is the right place to be. Please host and share the stream. Get some people in here, because we want to make sure that everyone is aware of what's going on with this charity. This is an amazing charity that we are proud to have this conversation with you guys and bring to the table and share with this audience. Hey, Mr. Bear, welcome to the show.
We have two things that kind of goes with my question that were said in chat, so I'm going to read them both to you. As we were talking passion and kind of what drives you, Luigi said, it's a great thing what you're doing, giving them new opportunities. God bless, keep it up. And then Elder Phoenix says, I have quite a few friends that are vets that have nothing to turn to but minimum wage jobs and are just barely supporting their families. This is an amazing thing for vets, giving them opportunities to better themselves. Keep up the amazing work. So thank you guys so much for those kind words and that encouragement to Jay and his charity.
Thank you guys. No veteran should serve their country and be regulated to being considered skilled. I personally, I know how that feels to come home and, thank you for your service, but you're not qualified. I heard that in 2009, 2010. That was my life, being told that I, wasn't good enough by the people I, served. Now I have no skills. You go from being this person in uniform who feels like a superhero. Like I tell people, it's if you ever watch the first Thor, when he goes from Thor to being stripped from the hammer and like he's in that crying scene and all the rain and stuff, that is basically the whole like cycle of going from military to veteran. You go from being this person that people want to thank you for your service. They want to buy you a drink. They want to buy your dinner. You show up in uniform to a function. The doors are getting open to now you're just a guy. You're just something on a piece of paper to just a macro on an Excel spreadsheet that people are trying to figure out, how can we, well, do you have anything useful to us to exploit to help us gain capital? So like that's one of the main reasons why I created that code. And, I realized that in 19 it was so much harder. Like, college takes 4 years. The nonprofits, like, they're great nonprofits, like got your six, but their mission is a stretch goal, and it's a moon mission on trying to change how people think about veterans. It's going to take a very long time, but I focused on, like, just 18, 19 weeks of dedicated training, and I can just give these people skills that are in demand. So you can look at them, but you also look, oh snap, they did all this, and they have this portfolio, they have this GitHub, they have this code pen, where they are doing all cool animations and stuff. And so for me, it was a no-brainer. It was like, either create something where there was like stretch goals or moon missions or not true metrics, or create something that was useful. So that's, for us, to me, it was an easy decision. I worked in the nonprofit sector trying to help veterans. When I first started, I didn't like the reactive-based stretch goal style mission. I wanted to focus on proactive, helping veterans and getting veterans real tools and real things that they could use. Like from one of our veterans now, one of our supporters didn't know that one of our veterans worked at a company that he invested in. So like, I found out literally like 2 weeks ago that one of our veterans had been working for 6 months with a company that one of our supporters was an investor in. So
Wow.
It was really, and this company had just did all like the cybersecurity and stuff for the Rio Olympics. And it was so crazy. I was like, oh, you guys? Yeah, their guy who's in their business dev position, who does like dealing with Python and Jira and all this other stuff. Yeah, he's one of our guys. And it was very, very, very funny, very serendipitous, like how small that veteran community is. And it's no harder, it's no better way of showing, like, oh, these guys are doing works, because my money was invested with them before I even made a donation. So like, to me, you know what, that's 2 point scoreboard. I don't know any points.
Congrats. Give yourself a pat on the back. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
But there's plenty more. I mean, there are 21.8 million veterans. And because of the way we do things, we max take, if we're lucky, if we have everything perfect, we take about a squad, which is, you guys know, 13 people. So with 21.8 million, especially 1.1 million ex in the military every year that fit our metrics, we have a lot of work to do. And that's what we try to tell people. If you're going to focus on helping charities or helping veterans, focus on some of the younger charities that have metrics and are looking at using data to help them solve the problem instead of using the story. I think that's one of the things that, as like civilians, we get, the community kind of gets like tied up in. They want the story more than the data and the metrics. We tried our best to not use veterans as props. We want to use veterans. We want to empower our veterans.
Right.
So the program and what we do and what we teach is at the forefront. So we try. So with that in mind, our primary focus is not making them feel like they owe us. So let us use your story. No, if you don't want us to use your story, I'm perfectly okay with it. That's your story. It's unfair for, as a trade-off, I need to write a story for you. I need to use your story. It's, that's your story. That's your walk. That's your journey. What sells itself is, I'm getting veterans off, out of jobs they hate. I'm helping, when you have, I know for a fact there are veterans, there are organizations out there when you have veterans knocking down your door, calling you on your personal, trying to get into your program, that is like the biggest thank you. I know that I'm the person that people come to when they're about to have a baby. Like literally, a lot of people, the number one cause of people applying for our program is they're about to welcome a new addition to their family. They want to be prepared and they want to create something, get a skill that they can help provide for their family. That's literally number one. Like, it's so crazy. Since I've started this program, like everybody, at least one squad always has a like baby in the middle of it. It's like so funny. I'm like, yo, like you're a new dad or you're a dad again. It's like, wow, like you got, or you're a mom, like wow, like one lady, she's like showing us like pictures of the baby, like she was live streaming this. I was like, that is really dope. Like, holy, I'm like I'm affecting lives and things of the nature that people will never ever be able to fathom. And like, that someone's live streaming like the first like day or so. I'm like, yeah, hey, but here's my kid. He's like 24 hours old. Like, whoa.
Wow.
It's awesome. So like that's the mission that we do. We change lives and we help people prepare for the next step of their life. And that's something that, a lot of other organizations can't say. We literally had our director, one of our operations director, he just had his second child, and one of our students just had his, I think, fourth this week.
Wow.
So like these are the things that we do. Like, we help veterans skill up so they can provide for their families. This is why I've gotten so used to and accustomed to this. I was like, wow, like it's so awesome.
So
And,
those
like,
of
me
you,
being a dad,
go ahead, Joe.
being like married and stuff is like, I definitely see like that was one of my motivating things. Like I wanted a family and I wanted the skills to, literally what I tell people, I come from a combat sports mentality, so I'm like, you gotta skills to pay the bills. So like, that's what we focus on. You build skills, you got skills to pay the bills. And I tell them that all the time, and it's so funny because the kids, I call them kids, like some of them are older than me. I'm like, skills pay the bills. I'm like, you say that all the time. Is that your thing? I'm like, yeah, that's my thing. Because the only thing that matters are the skills. In the end, like, if you've gone through SEER or you're going through any training, you're always going to revert back to your training. Like, it doesn't matter who knows you and stuff. In the end, you're going to revert to what you know. And so that's what we focus on. Our internal motto is, because so many of them, we say skills pay the bills. I took something from a show. I don't know if you guys know this movie, but they're like, always ABC, always be closing. But I'm like, ABC, always be committing. And it's like basically a statement to their GitHub accounts to whenever they do work, commit their work and push it to GitHub. Because I tell them that's one of the things that employers and people who are recruiters, that's what they look at. They look at their GitHubs. They look at your projects. They look at your GitHub accounts. They want to see how many days you've been pushing to GitHub, how many times you pushed to GitHub. If you're in a 19-week program and you've been lazy about it and you've done 37 pushes, you're gonna have a lot of like makeup work to do to meet up to the guy that has 337 pushes. Like we have some guys now, we've been in for a month, and one dude has 464 pushes. He's done so many projects. It's like, it's just so amazing. Like I look at his GitHub some evenings, I just drink a glass of whiskey in a week. Like I'm so proud of you. Like you just make me so happy. So that's, it's all in a day's work. I come home, I jump on and I start grading and I start looking at GitHubs. I start doing pull requests and I start fixing things and leaving notes and stuff like that. And then I go and then I teach. Then I'm teaching LAMP stack into one group. Then one group I'm starting with Ruby, and then I'm going to go front end with them, and then they're going to learn LAMP stack. other group is going to learn Ruby on Rails, and then it's just so much fun for me. And just I'm able to like alternate days and just have a blast. And so I'm not motivated by helping by code at all. I'm motivated by helping veterans. I enjoy.
You can see that you're very passionate about what you do, and it's like an aura for you. You love what you're doing, and I think that's inspiring.
So that's my thing.
It's inspiring for us because you guys in chat too. We say it all the time on our show. Find the thing that you love and make it your job. If you can find that thing that brings you joy and make it your 9 to 5 or your 11 to 12, whatever you're working. To be able to support yourself, it will no longer be a job. It'll be your joy, right?
For me, it's a project. It's a passion project. I started this as a side project, and I still work full time as a software engineer. I still build products for people.
And you're still married?
Yeah. Yes, I am still married. My wife has not left me.
Right? Okay.
I'm really good at managing my time. Usually, like, she's over here giggling now. Like, yo.
Tell her she can just step on in anytime so we can say thank you to her. We give her thank you.
Hating. You need to support. You're supposed to support me. Yeah, she is a joker. I love you though. Yeah, like usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I try to stay off the computer as much as possible. She'll be gone this weekend, and I'll just be babysitting, so I will be
right. So let me get Resolve's question in here because we haven't got one from her yet.
Okay.
So like a major thing that you keep repeating is just like how amazing it is and like how much fun it is for you. Like we've discussed previously, like other companies, namely Activision through the Call of Duty endowment, that are making an attempt to provide job opportunities and training for veterans because they've seen like an issue as far as programs that are already set that really aren't cutting it. You yourself being a veteran, how do you feel knowing that there are other people out there, such as yourself and your colleagues and members of other companies who are really, striving to assist in like lowering the unemployment and underemployment rates of veterans in our nation?
I feel great. I mean, we're not in this to make Vets Who Code a 20-year organization. So we tell people, give to us so that way we can quickly put ourselves out of business. I'm not trying to be 65, the 65-year-old executive director. Like people know my disdain for those type of nonprofits and know that I have zero, I'm open to even say that I have zero respect for the nonprofits that have directors who are civilians and they've been doing their job for 30 years and they made no impact on their mission. As a veteran, as a former active duty military member, that is abysmal. Like, part of having a mission is succeeding, and there's no excuse. You accept a mission to accomplish it.
Right.
You've been at a mission for 30 years. We need to look at what you're doing wrong.
Right.
And the same thing when it comes to like all these companies now are coming forward. The companies are seeing things the same way I'm seeing things. Like, all right, we have companies around that have been around, by the time this nonprofit started, we have new kids that have gone in the military and gotten out the military, and they're grown. And we haven't figured this out. So we're going to have to take initiative to figure this out because that there's no way most of these nonprofits are going to end them. They're not going to put themselves out of business. And that's why we were very, not only was I meticulous about what I did, I was very meticulous about my team. My entire team are very highly skilled in what they do and what they are a part of. They are fully aware that our job is not to do this forever.